Hello and welcome back to Football by the Numbers. I am John. I am joined by neither of my co-hosts, but that is my own doing. I decided to go solo on this one, kind of give a rundown about how the U.S. men's national team did in their October qualifying matches. So in these qualifying matches, as we talked about in our video, go check that out. We did a preview about this round of the U.S. men's national team qualifiers. We went through the lineups. We saw some good players. We saw some bad players. We said, what the hell are you doing, Greg? To some of these other players. I took some notes on all these matches that I watched. Let's review how the U.S. men's national team did in their October qualifiers. We pulled 6 points. That's a plus. That's a good news for you, Greg. We're on to you, though. I'm on to you. I know that you're not that good of a coach. I don't know why we have this Poundland, Columbus Crew, Swedish team coach as the U.S. men's national team coach, and I don't know how he's lasted so long. He's not a good coach. He wouldn't know creativity if he was Leonardo da Vinci. He wouldn't be able to create something if he was playing with Legos on the kitchen table with the instructions next to him. I mean, I don't know why he's still in a job. Like, he's getting the points, he's getting the results, and I guess that's all that matters. But I keep bringing this up with my co-hosts Andrew and Will. What's going to happen when we play Mexico next month? Literally a month from today, we will have played Mexico. We will be a day or two out from playing Mexico. Mexico's a better team than we are. They have more goals scored and they have less goals conceded. Albeit, both of those stats, they beat the U.S. men's national team by 1, but that's because of a lucky and a very favorable result we got against Honduras in a game where XG had us even at 1 goal apiece. I said that last video that we shouldn't have won that game. This time, the U.S. men's national team played against Jamaica, they played Panama, and then they just played Costa Rica. U.S. men's national team versus Jamaica. VAR. VAR, 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 VAR. Where is VAR? And I know where VAR is. It's not going to be in CONCACAF anytime soon because half of CONCACAF is a third world countries in general. We've got all these islands and places where earthquakes hit twice a year and destroy the entire country, and they have to rebuild it all from scratch. They're not going to put any VAR video review cameras in those stadiums. I would have the United States either offer to play all of the qualifying matches and none of the international friendlies in the United States so that we can get VAR in there, because against Jamaica there were 2 red card opportunities. The first one was in the first 20 seconds against Areola. It was a last man tackle, and the second one was in the 33rd minute on Aronson. Like, what is this ref doing? And I know what he was doing. He was trying to call the game so it didn't go one way or another, and he tried to seem impartial and tried to make it an even game. But in order to make it an even game, you need to call the rules right. And this ref was a rookie. It was his first ever international match that he was reffing, but Mark Clattenburg got it right both times. It's a red card. Both of those fouls are red cards. There wasn't a ton of creativity. Like I said, outside of Brendan Aronson, he was the saving grace for this team. There was a lot of repetitive runs, and by that I mean players were making the exact same runs at the exact same time. Ricardo Pepi is scrappy, but he was often just like almost bumping into our players, making the same runs on the outside of the box. We need him to stay in the middle, or we needed outside of the box in the middle so that he can make a dribbling run inside. Walker Zimmerman, I thought, was a great center back, especially paired with Miles Robinson. They both looked extremely good on the night. Even when everybody was pushed up, our fullbacks, our midfielders were pushed up, and we got caught on the break, they looked calm, composed, and Zimmerman got us out of a lot of situations. Robinson is very good as well, so I don't want to downcredit him, but Zimmerman was, in my mind, the better of the two. Matt Turner also is getting his job done in goal. He was a very good shot stopper. Distribution-wise, there's still some questions to be asked, but he's a very good goalkeeper, and he made some great saves shot stopping wise. Will said in our preview episode also, go check that out, by the way. There's a great video. Will and I discussed it. Who's supposed to score this? Will said this in the preview. Who is supposed to score the goals here? Ricardo Pepi? Maybe. Yeah, he's more of a poacher, though, and the style that Greg plays, which I'll get into in the overview here, is more of a possession-based, work it towards the corners and cross it in. I'll give you my thoughts on Greg's tactical ability later on again. He he doesn't really have a clue. I mean, you could tell that in the halftime talk. He came out and said, we need to do it faster. Okay, are you going to do it faster and work the ball into the box and not play possession offense? Or are you going to play possession offense and not work the ball quickly and try and just go, like, what are you talking about, Greg? Do it faster. Do what? You can't possess the ball faster. Possessing the ball is a strategy in its own right where you take possession away from the other team and you own the ball and you work it into the area slowly so that they can't do anything, and then you drop back or you play a certain defensive style to complement the possession offense. And I feel like both of his styles of play don't match up with each other. His offense isn't creative. There's not enough opportunities. XG continuously rates us, other than the Jamaica game, at 1 XG per game. We're not creating enough. XGA, expected goals against, has us at about 0.9. So each of these games should be about a draw. So in the second half, Serginho Dest created an excellent goal for Pepe when Musa drove through the middle, passed to Serginho Dest on the right-hand side on the overlap. He chipped it into the middle and Pepe headed it home in the bottom left corner. Musa looked very good. He's still very raw, but if he were to be polished, he'd be an insane player. I mentioned earlier on the red card opportunities, Paul Arriola. I hope he's not our solution. God, he's so vanilla and boring. He's not, I mean, Will said that in the preview. Again, go check that video out. He's fast. He's clever with his dribbling. He could kind of pass. He can't shoot. What's he going to do? The long shots in this game. Holy cow. We cannot shoot from distance, so we need to work that ball into the box. Weah looked gorgeous in these games that he played, both in the Jamaica game and in the Costa Rica game. He's got a smooth and silky touch. I want him to get some serious playing time in the build-up to the World Cup. I think he's got a lot to offer this team, especially wide on the wing. The final point I have is Chris Richards. Where is this dude? Why did he play only the last game? Statistically, ratings-wise, he didn't get a great rating or a great review, but he is a good player. He's showing out at Hoffenheim. He's an FC Bayern boy, so obviously I'm biased for him. I think he had a good defensive showing today. You could see that he's a lot like Niklas Zula. He's got a lot of skill. He can get forward. He can play fullback. He can play center back. He was playing center back and got forward and actually tried to create something and even won the ball back. He's quick. He's fast. Play him more often. So the second goal in the Jamaica game came from 62nd minute from Ricardo Pepi, assisted by Brendan Aronson. Aronson was played through on the left-hand side, made a good early cross to Ricardo Pepi, who poked it home past the Jamaican goalkeeper. Zardes almost had an opportunity to score a third. What is he doing on the team? This 30-year-old with 7 goals in 19 matches? Why is he good enough to make the team? I would prefer Sargent on the team. I would prefer DK on the team. I would prefer Sibachu on the team. There are so many better options than this schlub, this useless striker. He didn't even touch the ball, even try and poke it in goal. He completely whiffed and fell over. Player of the match, of course, had to be Ricardo Pepi. Now, moving on to the U.S. men's national team against Panama, we did not have the best lineup out there. I mean, I will be the first to admit that. I will be the first to admit that because I get to criticize Greg on it. Greg, what the hell are you doing, man? This was a crap lineup away from home, and it's away from home so you know we're going to lose, or at least draw or not get a good result. So the first half, we were stuck in our own half a lot. High pressure by Panama, especially on the right-hand side where Shaq Moore was playing at right back. Shaq Moore should not be playing right back. Chris Richards should be playing at right back. DeAndre Yedlin should be playing at right back. Serginho Dest should be playing at right back. Why is Shaq Moore on the team? Why do we have 4 right backs? We're not English. We don't have a right back problem where we have 4 absolutely outstanding world-class right backs and we don't know where to play them and they're not versatile. Shaq Moore shouldn't be on the team. We have enough right backs to where we can play extremely well. Yedlin and Serginho Dest should be the right backs we play. Bring Chris Richards because he can play at the right back slot and he can play at center back too. Bello looked out of his depth too. Bello did not have a good game. He looked like he didn't know what was going on, and he didn't look like he was a good tactical fit. He's too young. He's 19 years old. He's still green in the Atlanta United. I'm glad he's got a cap. I'm glad that he's committed to our team, but he's not ready, especially in an away game. The away game is where you put out your A lineup. The B lineup is what you do at home because you have the 12th man as the crowd supporting us there. So in the second half, Zardes once again was too frequently offside. Apart from his offside chances that he had, his offside chances looked somewhat decent, like he might be able to score. He was toothless. He can't do anything. He shouldn't be on this team. He's not good. We just have too many 6 out of 10 players. We have too many players that are just vanilla, that are average, that are going to give us a decent performance and no better and no worse. Well, they might actually give it to us worse. 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, hardly any 7 out of 10s. We need some good performers who are going to show out and be difference makers. I know a lot of them are young. I know that a lot of them don't have a lot of experience. The names that come to mind are like Tim Weah, Brendan Aronson. McKennie and Adams have a lot of caps, but they're also still very young. I hate to call it a rebuild because what are we rebuilding towards other than mediocrity? This has the potential to be the best ever United States men's national team, especially with a competent manager, which we don't have right now. I'll get into who my dream is later on in the episode, but we don't have a competent manager. He's using too much green talent. We need more experience in this team. Zardes brings experience, but he doesn't bring talent. We need some of both, and we need some difference makers in the match against Costa Rica. Costa Rica are an aged team. They're very old, and they didn't switch the lineup in 3 games. You're thinking, okay, they're tired. It's going to be an easy win for us. It's not going to be a hard game. We're at home in Columbus. We have the home crowd cheering us on. They scored 1 minute into the game. That shows how this is going to go. And then Gregg bitched at halftime. Oh, well, the goal was offsides. The goal was offsides. First of all, the goal's not offsides because Sergiño Dest is on the end line playing him onside. Second of all, it's not offsides because the striker who was standing in front of Zach Steffen was not offsides. He didn't block the line of sight of the shot. He wasn't in the way of the play. He didn't touch the ball. He's not offsides. Third of all, Zach Steffen let that easy shot go in. He just watched the shot go and then jumped at it too late. It was just ridiculous. I mean, it's like playing a game of hot potato, except you hold the hot potato and you run around screaming, not knowing you're supposed to throw the hot potato to somebody else. Even if it's offsides, you still save the shot. And the shot was an easy one to save. It shouldn't have been one he conceded. So Zach Steffen is still showing us, despite his distribution ability, despite him playing at Manchester City, despite him training there, he's still good for that one defensive error that leads to a goal per game. So Sergiño Dest scored in the 25th minute. I'm not attributing that to Gregg. That is not a Gregg goal. That was a moment of brilliance. And the reason I know it wasn't a Gregg goal is because it didn't play like a Gregg goal. We had Yunus Musa out on the outside playing it to Sergiño Dest at the top of the box, who made a left-footed strike in the top left-hand corner past Keylor Navas, a world-class goalkeeper. It was an amazing shot. It was a moment's goal. Moments FC is what the U.S. men's national team. Individual moments of brilliance that power this team on. Like I said, this is the most talented team we've ever had. That includes the Clint Dempsey, Michael Bradley, Landon Donovan era. That team was good, but it's not what we have right now. This team is highly gifted, highly talented. These are the best players that we've ever seen. Sergiño Dest is an amazing player. He is a fantastic player playing at Barcelona. Ricardo Pepi's going to get picked up. Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic are at 2 of the top teams in the world. They didn't even play this time. Anthony Robinson's at a successful championship club. Chris Richards is at the best club in the entire world on loan to a different club. Adams and McKennie are on 2 of the top clubs in the entire world. We have an excellent pool of talent to pull from, whereas we had Landon Donovan, who was a top talent, and then Clint Dempsey, who's best. He was at Fulham and then went to Seattle to ruin his career. Michael Bradley was at Roma, which is a pretty top team, especially when he played on it, and then went back to Toronto FC to ride out his retirement early. This team is Moments FC. This is not a Gregg team. Luckily for us, I hate to praise an injury, and I hope he comes back well. We were very lucky that Keylor Navas came out at halftime. The substitute goalie would lead to our second goal. Should have been 2-2, but their center attacking mid is very slow. I think he was in his upper 30s. He's getting ready to retire if he hadn't already. Miles Robinson just busted ass. Will was right. Go check out our last video, the MLS players who need a move. Will shouted out Miles Robinson. This kid is really good. This kid looks good for the U.S. men's national team. And I know you're not supposed to buy players based on how they look for the national team because look at what happened in the past, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? He looks good for Atlanta United. Atlanta United picked up steam at the end of the season and they're still going. And the U.S. men's national team looks hot. Speaking of that own goal on the goalkeeper, Weah. Tim Weah, son of George Weah, the current president of Liberia and Ballon d'Or winner. Incredible talent, George Weah. Tim Weah. Damn, man. I mean, I was surprised the ball didn't pop when he struck that ball against the post. The ball hits against the post, hits the keeper pretty much in the back of the head, and goes into the net. I mean, that was quite a strike, and he almost did it again 2 minutes later. Pepe, of course, was fouled in the box, and of course, we didn't get a pen. But if you look at some of these heat maps from players like Yunus Musa, from players like Serginho Dest, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Tim Weah, Anthony Robinson, Brendan Aronson, we didn't have a whole lot of box presence. This kind of leads me into Gregg's idea of playing football, playing soccer. He gets the balls out on the wings and then possesses the ball and slowly moves it into the corners to cross it in. But then he doesn't have a Daryl DK, Josh Sargent type striker, and I know I shit on Josh Sargent all the time. He's not a good striker. But the idea, the concept that Gregg has is to have a tall striker like a Daryl DK, like a Josh Sargent, who can really power and head the ball into the net. Because what you do is you work the balls to the outside of the box, to the corners, and then you cross it into a big target man. He likes that target man offense. But again, we have a pound land, crap Columbus Crew manager who was so inconsistent at the club that one year he'd be mid-table in like 6th. 7th place in the MLS, and then he'd be 20th and dead last in the very next season. This guy is not the one for the job. But we don't have anybody in the box. You can see that just watching the games or looking at these heat maps. Everybody's moving to the corners on the outside of the box and trying to get it in. Pepe's the only one really centered in the box. I mean, you have a couple of guys you'll see these bright yellow boxes where they're kind of moving into the box and then they're moving real quick out. But you see Yunus Musa, Tim Weah, Serginho Dest were solid along that right-hand touch line. Not a whole lot of movement in the box. McKennie's like right outside the box centrally. Tyler Adams is outside of the box centrally, but he's pretty deep out, like 40 yards off the box. Anthony Robinson, left-hand side again. He's a fullback, but you can still, I mean, look at Serginho's goal. He cut inside and was right outside the box, but he still made a cut inside. Aronson, he made some movement in the box, but he was mostly like lying deep, and he'd get the ball deep and then dribble it up, or he'd get the ball and dribble it out to the outside wing and try and cross it in or try and move it in. That's not the way we should be playing. We should either try and work it into the box, be more direct with our passing and have Daryl DK up front, or we should try and lob balls over the top like we did with Honduras for Ricardo Pepi to run onto and then play one of our wings. Or we should have Serginho Dest really work the overlap where you have the wingers that we have sitting on the edge of the box, maybe 5 or 10 yards back off of that. They receive the ball, Serginho Dest bombs onto the line, and we try and work it into the center to shoot, or we have that option with Serginho on the baseline to cut it back and shoot the ball into the net. We shouldn't be going for the corners flags. We shouldn't be doing any of that and trying to cross it into a striker who's 6'6'1". When Hoppy, when he came on, Matthew Hoppy, I want to talk about him before I go back to our overall statistics again. Matthew Hoppy was a breath of fresh air. Why is Matthew Hoppy not our backup striker? Why didn't we bring a Sebachu, a Sargent to try and get him in form? I would have rather seen Sargent than Zardes out there, honestly. And you know how much I don't like Josh Sargent. We all know how much I don't like Josh Sargent, and yet I would have rather seen him than Zardes struggle to play football. I mean, it's ridiculous. He doesn't bring anything to our team. He doesn't bring experience and leadership. You can get John Brooks for that, and I know he was out for an injury problem. Look at Walker Zimmerman. He's a good locker room presence. He's aged. He's 28 years old. He brings some experience. Yes, he doesn't bring experience from the U.S. men's national team, but he does bring experience. If you want to bring experience, bring in some coaches. Bring in some people that can train and tactically be aware. Don't bring in old geezers like Zardes who can't do anything. So over the last 10 games, and I know this includes some of the Gold Cup, but over the last 10 games, the expected goals for the U.S. men's national team is 1.25. That means based on our shots and the way we build up the play and the way we build up the ball, our expected goals that we are going to score is about 1.25. So about 1. Our expected goals against is also 1. So we're drawn even. Expected goals against of 0.95 is decent. I'd like to see it lower, like a 0.5. That'd be a really rock solid defense. But because we have offensive fullbacks that really like to press forward, that's fine. I'm not too upset at that. 1.25 for our expected goals for with the offense that we have or could have with Daryl Dike, with Ricardo Pepi, Serginho Dest making bombing runs, with Tim Weah, Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, all these players, 1.25 and drawing even? That's 0.3 expected goal difference. That's not enough for the offensive team we have, for the talent that we have. We should really be doing better, and it shows that Gregg does not have any tactical awareness. He doesn't have any creativity. And we're letting off shots with low expected goal tallies. And the low expected goal tallies, yes, they may go in, and it may show that we're really overperforming our expected goal tallies. But if most likely, if we're taking random long shots off and these have low expected goals, that means we're not probable to score them. The expected goals number is calculated based off the probability that the shot goes in. Of course, what kind of shots are most likely to go in? Open goal shots and penalty kicks. We don't get any of those because we're not in the box. We're taking long shots or we're taking stupid shots, and the shots that we do take are right at the keeper. Moving on, we failed to score in 50% of matches away from home. Okay, so we can't perform away from home. So what, John? You may be saying. Okay, well, where's the World Cup in 2022? Where are some of these games that we're playing for the Gold Cup? Where are some of these games we're playing for the Nations Cup? What are we supposed to do then when we go to Qatar, Gregg? Another problem. We hardly score in the first half. We're a second half team. And on top of that, a third of our goals come in the last 10 minutes of the game, past minute 80. So we're just going to try and tire teams out and beat them 1-0 in the last 10 minutes of the game. How long are we going to be able to do that? How long are we going to be able to do that? And when matches are coming thick and fast in a World Cup situation in 2022 in Qatar, when the winters there are like 80 degrees. I mean, we've got to be able to start scoring goals and almost be neurotic about it and score at random points and even the distribution and keep our opponents on their toes. Again, I've hit this point multiple times, but I want to hit it again to just bring the point home. Don't bring Zardes into the team. He literally brings nothing. He doesn't bring goals. He doesn't bring assists. He doesn't bring creativity. He doesn't fit the system. He is a pleb. We have enough strikers out there. I can name 5 right off the bat that I would rather see. I would rather see Josh Sargent. I would rather see Daryl Dike. I would rather see Ricardo Pepi. I'd rather see Jordan Siebatcheu. I would rather see Matthew Hoppy. 5 right there. Speaking of which, where is Hoppy? Why did you bench him for so long, Gregg? Why did you put him on the bench against Panama? Because he bitched to you because you played him on the wing? He's a striker. And even if he said, "Coach, I'm not a winger, I'm a striker," guess what? You're the coach. Be a big man. Why are you so insecure that you're putting some of our better players on the bench up until the last 12 minutes of the last qualifying game and not rotating the lineup out? Pepi played 2 of these matches. Zardes appeared in 2 matches as a sub for 15 minutes and then played the middle one. You can't put Hoppy in there? He would have made a hell of a lot more of a difference. He's got some creativity to him. He can strike. He looked a lot better on the shot than Zardes did. And he was playing on the wing. And guess what? He played well on the wing. So you put him where he works, Gregg. You're the coach here. You're the boss. You tell him what to do. And guess what? As a winger, you can have him play on the wing. And yeah, he doesn't have the dribbling ability like a Tim Weah or a Christian Pulisic or a Gio Reyna to beat somebody with foot skills. But he's quick. He's fast. And guess what? You can play like the Premier League clubs are doing the elbow defense, where they have a lot of one fullback who will sit back and defend like 3 center backs and one push forward. That's what Julian Nagelsmann does a lot with a Benjamin Pavard at right back and Alphonso Davies at left. You have that opportunity to use him as a second striker and come in as an inside forward as opposed to a traditional winger or someone who's just going to cross the ball in. But that doesn't fit with your tactics, does it? That doesn't fit with the run to the corner flag and try and cross it in, or run to the middle of the box and try and cross it into our striker who's not going to head the ball because that's not his strength. His strength is running with the ball, running at people and making quick movements. And even Pepi, I will say, even Pepi looked like he struggled with that. He had 2 or 3 opportunities where he could have made one quick movement and one quick shot, and he didn't take the shot quick enough or make the movement quick enough, and he missed the shot. Or he got the shot blocked. I think it's time to bring in some other people, Gregg. Daryl Dike's been back and healthy, and he's ready to play. And he should be our number 1 striker. Unless you want to play something formationally different, or just in general tactically different, like a counter counterattacking offense or a quick build-up instead of this slow possession style, no creativity thing that allows teams to get back and compress because you're so easy to read. So you get the ball to Tyler Adams, who gets it to Weston McKennie, who dribbles up the middle and passes it to Yunus Musa on the right-hand side. Serginho Dest has already bombed on. Wonder where he's going. Serginho Dest. Guess what they do? They compact the middle. They have 5 players in the middle, 1 or 2 on the right-hand side covering the cross in, and all of our players in the middle are marked. And there's not enough players in the middle. We're getting the results, but the football being played here is 1, boring, and 2, not good enough. The tactics aren't good enough. But if that wasn't enough, and I'll leave you all with this, at least we have Taylor Twellman in the commentary booth making a fool of himself. Some quotes that he had. As bad as it was against Panama is as good as it is now. How bad it was against Panama is how good it is now. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, this guy's a wash up too, and he just kind of, I think he's a fool. Shows up to the office in his best sneaks, doesn't do any preparation work or doesn't do enough preparation work. He played in the Bundesliga, and you can say some German names half right and half incorrect. So, I guess he's good enough to be a commentator. Tell me what you think. Is Gregg good enough? I'm Gregg out. I think Gregg is not good enough. Let me caveat this. Before I leave you guys, I am Gregg out. I think Gregg does not play a tactically good enough football. I think he does play a good enough football to beat teams like Jamaica and Honduras and El Salvador, whom we should have beat, and Panama, whom we should have beat. But he doesn't play good enough football to beat the Mexicos. He clearly doesn't play good enough football to beat Canada. And we were lucky again against Canada that Alphonso Davies came out. We're not going to be lucky in Qatar. There's going to be some good African teams here who are quick, who are fierce, who are ferocious. Our historical bogey team that we've played is Ghana. Ghana is not even going to make the World Cup. What about Egypt? What about Senegal? What happens when we have Senegal running at us with Sadio Mane? He's going to destroy us. Egypt with Salah, one of the best players in the world? No chance. That's not to mention Portugal, who have a solid young base with good old veterans like Cristiano Ronaldo. It's not to mention Argentina, with the Messis and the Angel Di Marias and the up-and-coming talent they have, and the Germanys, the Spains, Englands, the France, the Switzerlands, who we lost to in a friendly. So I'm Gregg out, but I'm not Gregg out right now. I'm willing to continue to give him chances as long as the results are coming, but I have a very thin rope. I don't anticipate that we beat Mexico. It'd be nice to. It'd be nice to get a draw. I expect we beat Jamaica, and those are our 2 matches we play, Mexico and Jamaica. Here's what I do anticipate. The Red Bull Leipzig project that Jesse Marsh has going on is not working. And I'll tell you why it's not working. It's because he walked into a sinking ship. Julian Nagelsmann left to go to the best club in the world, taking all of his assistant staff with him. Bayern properly paid for him. They paid $25 million plus a couple $100,000 for his staff. They also bought Dayot Upamecano. RB Leipzig also decided to sell Ibrahima Konate. Along with getting a new coach, new assistants in a more difficult league, because Jesse Marsh was at RB Salzburg, and let's be real, they're a big fish in a small pond there. There's not really a whole lot of competition over there in the Austrian league, especially with the talent that they have, especially him having Erling Haaland for a couple of years. There was no talent that could have even competed with Erling Haaland in the Austrian Bundesliga. But the project over there is not working. And the reason it's not working is because they sold their defensive core, and their offense doesn't seem to really be clicking with Jesse Marsh's tactics like they were with Nagelsmann, which is understandable. Nagelsmann is an absolutely prolific manager. He's world class, and I hope he stays at Bayern for another 20 years. But we'll see. So I think that RB Leipzig sits in 8th place right now, and they do mediocre this season. Late in the season, they fire Jesse Marsh. Or maybe after this full season, they give him a whole season's chance. They finish outside of Champions League qualification, and Jesse Marsh gets the sack because he doesn't get the result because he doesn't have the team that he needs. Where does Jesse Marsh then go? Well, he said his dream job is the U.S. men's national team. I would love to see him at the U.S. men's national team. I think Jesse Marsh plays a very tactically astute and competent brand of football. At least he did at Salzburg. He runs a gegenpressing tactic that works extremely well. It did in the Champions League with RB Salzburg. It did against Manchester City. They got 3 goals in a 9-goal rout, but they still got 3 goals against Manchester City. The pressing that we have on defense, it seems like individuals press whoever has the ball, and then there's a pass or 2 later, and then they just drop back. Jesse Marsh would pressure and then continue pressuring and get into formations where you almost throttle the person with the ball, and they have to get rid of the ball, or they break down your defense. And the breaking down of the defense is hard when you're so overloaded and so pressured in their own half. What do you guys think? Let me know what you thought of the U.S. men's national team performance. I'm not convinced. 6 points is good. We probably should have drawn this game against Costa Rica, I'm not going to lie. We deserved to lose that game against Panama. We performed like crap. The game against Jamaica, we deserved to win. So I'd say we probably deserved 4 points. We got 6. So once again, Greg limps to the barn. But let me know what you guys think down below. Who were some good performers? How were the performances? What do you think needs to change? Am I wrong? Do you completely disagree with me? Do you think Jesse Marsch wouldn't work here? I think we need a better manager before the World Cup comes, or we are going to be embarrassed in the group stages, as we usually are. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for our next video. We're going to talk about the Newcastle takeover by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Get in for some good banter between me and the boys. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We are football by the numbers.